Success, big success, the kind that'll let you exit down the road is an everyday grind. So in my constant quest to find ways to provide more free value for all of you and create content that I wish that I had when I got started in voiceover, I'm creating a new playlist that is going to be me going through all of my old, well, not all, but a lot of my old Voice 123 auditions, going back 4 years when I literally just got started, listening to the auditions that I submitted then, and doing a new audition today with my current skill set. I have put in hours upon hours of work, training, coaching, and in just improving to get to where I am in my career. And I'm very happy with where I am. Hopefully, just by watching how I would tweak my auditions that I would submit today, you can gain some tidbits on how to improve your own. Hey guys, my name is DJ. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. So here we are going back sorted by oldest first. And you can see that this is 4 years, and I think it's probably closer to 5 years as far as when I first started on Voice 123. I got started during COVID, so this is about that time. And I'm really shy to come look at some of this stuff, but we're gonna go through, we'll listen to maybe 2 or 3 of these auditions, and then I'll give fresh reads and give feedback on myself, like if I were to make tweaks and stuff, why I made the changes I made, and also what mistakes or what things could have been different about the audition I submitted back then. So let's go ahead and just start here. Infographic animation for business platform. Look at the rates, guys. $200. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you have to start at industry rates. Most people don't start at industry rates, okay? Anyways, so I did not get this job. This is for infographic for animation for business platform. So it's a corporate narration. And it is probably something about some kind of software. So let's take a listen. Hey, we heard your company is killing it. You've got a team, you've got a vision, you've got momentum. But none of that is a given. Success, big success, the kind that'll let you exit down the road is an everyday grind. You can't just pop in twice a year and remind the team where the goalposts are. That's not a strategy. It's an afterthought. Your team needs direction, but how do you set it and keep it and refine it over time? How do you keep everyone on track without micromanaging? Well, you could drop cash on a consultant who starts calling the shots to fix problems that may or may not exist. Or you could use worked-out software. It gives every employee the info they need to perform at the highest level. We're talking metrics, revenue, profit, and cash flow. Okay, if I'm being completely honest with myself, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was pretty bad. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. From the beginning, I had a sense for corporate narration. I've never been trained in corporate narration like to that level. I've had a couple coaches that I reached out to, but they both told me that there's nothing they could give me to improve. I have an innate sense for corporate narration. However, let's point out some things that were pretty bad about that audition. One, the audio quality. It was terrible. This was back when I was using that Amazon microphone for like $30, and it was not a good microphone at all. It had a lot of self-noise, and because of that self-noise, I had to put a lot of processing on the audio, which degraded the quality, which is why you kind of get this kind of boxy sound like this. I did have a decent recording space. I was in my closet. It was well treated. It's just the microphone just wasn't very good. If I was a casting director and I heard that audition, I wouldn't even listen past the first 2 seconds. I'd move on to the next. I would not shortlist this. Audio quality is important, guys. You got to make sure your audio is on point because you don't want to get kicked out of the audition just because your quality went bad. They don't even stay around to listen to your performance. The second thing I want to point out about my performance here, if we listen again, hey, we heard your company is killing it. You've got a team, you've got a vision, you've got momentum. But none of that is a given. I wasn't comfortable with my voice. Again, this is when I first got started, so I was still trying to find my sound, where to place my voice. My voice right now sits very nicely. It has a nice rasp to it. It's just very natural. But back then, I was kind of talking like up here, my nasal mask area, and it sounded really tinny and like this, and success, big success. You know, it was like, it wasn't placed right. Also, it's an afterthought. It's an afterthought. And this is a small thing, but it was pointed out to me by a casting director. Her name's Tina Morasco. When we're trying to sound conversational and like a real person, some of us tend to over-enunciate certain sounds. And for example, the stops at the end of words, like the t sound, like I stopped, like that t sound. we want to try to minimize that as much as possible because it doesn't sound very conversational. It sounds very stilted. And so that was something I probably shouldn't have done. So, I can't even remember what I said.
Your team needs direction.
The motivation is there. The intention is there. Just execution wasn't quite there. So that was not a very good audition. So let's imagine I'm going through the script today. The first thing I would do is understand what the company is. It's a tech company. And then also give the script a once-over to make sure there's no hard to pronounce words, make sure I understand what the general story is, understand where the hero of the script is introduced. Every corporate narration has a hero, and the hero is usually the company, right? But you have to understand where that shift is. So for example, right here, or you could use work software. This is the shift. So until here, it's kind of giving you all the bad points, all the bad things. All the things that are, unsavory about particular softwares that are out there right now and how it negatively impacts the company. So you want to make sure that you convey that emotion. You need to choose that emotion. What is your point of view, right? My point of view here for today is going to be like, what is this bullshit, dude? Like, why are we wasting time and money on this? I'm going to go risky and go like, yo, what the is this? Almost like I'm talking to my boss. Or maybe a coworker who is like had more experience than me, and I'm like this new guy, the rebel, the guy that's here to shake things up, and I'm like, hey man, what the hell are you guys doing, dude? Like, why are we doing this? We should be doing that. So that's the attitude I'm gonna take on take one, and let's see how it turns out. All right. Hey, we heard your company is killing it. You got a team, you've got a vision, you got momentum, but none of that is a given. Success, big success, the kind that'll let you exit down the road is an everyday grind. You can't just pop in twice a year and remind the team where the goalposts are. That's not a strategy. It's an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? Your team needs direction. You understand that. But how do you set it and keep it and refine it over time? How do you keep everyone on track without micromanaging? Okay, well, you could drop cash on a consultant who starts calling the shots to fix problems that may or may not exist. Or, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, the email came up. May or may not exist. Or you could use work.software. It gives every employee the info they need to perform at the highest level. And think about it. We're talking metrics. Revenue, profit, and cash flow. What's working and what's not. You see it all in the dashboard. With work.software, those financials are right there, taking the guesswork out of trouble areas and making life easier for the people who have to solve them. Oh, I did it again. Who have to solve them. In this situation, I said who have to solve them. That was an error. I would have fixed that if this was a real audition. What I would have changed it to is and make it easier for the people who have to solve them. I would have changed it to Okay, there you have the creative liberty to do that. Okay, so yeah, that was the attitude. That was my point of view. My point of view was like, what are we doing? Now for the second take, I'm gonna go with something like a bit more encouragement. I got a colleague who works in a different department, and again, I'm making this all up right now, who works in a different department, and he or she is coming to me for advice. And she's like stressed and man, like my boss, my head is on the chopping block. I got to get these KPIs, these metrics up, or otherwise I'm done. They're going to kick me out. I'm donezo. I'm like, yo, don't stress. We got this. So let's try this. Take two. Hey, we heard your company is killing it. Come on. You've got a team, you've got a vision, you've got momentum. But none of that is a given. Success, big success, the kind that'll let you exit down the road is an everyday grind. You can't just pop in twice a year. And remind the team where the goalposts are. That's not a strategy. That's an afterthought. Your team needs direction. But how do you set it and keep it and refine it over time? How do you keep everyone on track without micromanaging? Well, you could drop cash on a consultant who starts calling the shots to fix problems that may or may not exist. or you could use work.software. See, it gives every employee the info they need to perform at the highest level. We're talking metrics, revenue, profit, and cash flow. What's working and what's not. What's working and what's not. With work.software, those financials are right there, taking the guesswork out of trouble areas and making life easier for the people who have to solve them. Couple flubs there. Again, guys, I'm not ever going to feign perfection to you guys. I'm going to show you my entire process. So that would be a take 2. So if you go back in the video and compare how I sounded before and compare those 2 takes, hopefully you can understand the difference or hear the difference between them. And that's what I'd send off. I wouldn't spend any more time on it. Before we move on to the next one, I need you guys to understand the importance of having a point of view. Many people don't understand what a point of view is, and for a while I didn't either. A point of view is simply you creating the story in your mind and understanding what your perspective is on that story. What stand are you willing to take? In the first one, my stand was, I don't give a damn about what we used to do. That shit didn't work. It's garbage. This is what we have to do. And I would cross my arms in that way. That's how I felt. That's my point of view. I'm smarter than you guys. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, but like kind of cocky, you know? Whereas the second one, I'm a bit softer and be like, hey man, I don't want to see you get fired. I'm worried about my KPIs too. But after thinking about it, maybe here's some ways we can improve. Okay? And not being so pushy about it and just letting the colleague know, hey, these are my ideas. So those are my 2 points of view. The point of view is very important. It's going to ground your read. Now, let's move on to the next one. Okay, we're going to move down to this one here. This is actually a character, I believe, for this software, something augmented reality. It's like e-learning, okay, which is why the rate's so low. It's a character in this one, and you'll see it. Well, okay, I can't guarantee, but you might see a lot of these where you're just playing a doctor or construction worker or whatever as a character, but it's not character like animation character, okay? It's very grounded in reality. It's not dramatic. It's just you have to put yourself in the frame of mind of whatever this professional is. In this case, it's a doctor. I've never been a doctor before, but I am going to be today. And looking at the script, there's not a lot of medical terminology here, but there could be. Dr. Madison is a male in his mid to late 40s. He is, he's basically sharing his progress with this patient. So it's going to be conversational, but it's going to be professional. And if you listen to my proposal, my submitted audition, you'll hear that it was neither of those. It's kind of embarrassing.
DJ Dykes, 1 take. Normally, making the jump to an adult care gastroenterologist is difficult. Lots of times, patients don't have the knowledge they need. It's particularly difficult for college students who are prone to forgetting medications and not scheduling regular doctor visits. These things aren't usually top of mind for 18-year-olds, and it can lead to them ending up in the emergency room due to issues and flare-ups that could be prevented. Kevin and I are talking about this and the importance of maintaining the healthy lifestyle he's led up to this point that's kept his UC mostly under control.
Besides audio quality, we just talked about that a moment ago. This is before I upgraded my microphone. So the first thing I'm going to point out is I was very ready. It sounded like I was just reading the words on the page. This is a no-no. It's a character, right? And you imagine on the screen, there's a graphic of a doctor, maybe a CG of a doctor, and his lips are moving and he's telling a story, but it sounds so reedy. I did not book this job. So that was the first mistake. Secondly, it was too blitzed, meaning I just didn't pause. Like normally making the jump to adult care gastroenterologist is difficult. Lots of times patients don't have the knowledge. It was just, nobody talks like that on the regular, right? So that was the second thing. Third thing, I didn't really spend time creating the story in my mind, which would allow changes in the word. I know this sounds very esoteric and like, what the fuck are you talking about, DJ? But like, there was no reality there of like what I was saying. And lastly, I believe it was here, due to issues and flare-ups. When I got started in voiceover, my southern accent tended to come out a lot, and I had to work really hard to get rid of it. But I said, due to issues and flare-ups. I said flare-ups. This is my southern accent what came out there. So I'm gonna give 2 takes. I think for the first take 1, I'm going to keep it really professional. Let's just imagine that I'm giving a presentation for a case study to med students, okay? And so I want to keep it professional. I am the authoritative figure. I won't say talking down, but these people are still lower than me status-wise. So let's just see what I can do here. All right, guys, let's take a look at our next case study. This is Kevin, and Kevin is an interesting case. See, normally, making the jump to an adult care gastroenterologist is difficult. Lots of times, patients don't have the knowledge they need. It's particularly difficult for college students, like you guys, who are prone to forgetting medications and not scheduling regular doctor visits. These things aren't usually top of mind for 18-year-olds, and it can lead to them ending up in the emergency room due to issues and flare-ups that could be prevented. Kevin and I talked about this and the importance of maintaining the healthy lifestyle he's led up to this point that's kept his UC mostly under control. And that was take 1. Let's try take 2. This time I'm going to be talking to peers, other doctors and stuff. And I want to have a bit of a cocky, I don't say cocky, but I'm a doctor, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a bit confident here, but still keeping it approachable if that makes sense. Take 2. All right, guys. Now, normally making the jump to an adult care gastroenterologist is difficult, right? We can all agree. Lots of times patients don't have the knowledge they need, and it's particularly difficult for college students, right? Who are prone to forgetting medications and not scheduling regular doctor visits. These things aren't usually top of mind for 18-year-olds, and it can lead to them ending up in the emergency room due to issues and flare-ups that could be prevented. So we kind of understand that, right? We can all agree on that. Kevin and I talked about this and the importance of maintaining the healthy lifestyle he's led up to this point that's kept his UC mostly under control. Now, I made some flubs there. Again, guys, I have not read these scripts in 4 years. But hopefully you can feel the difference there. Compared to my proposal, go back and listen to the audition again. It should sound more grounded and real, okay? And because it's a doctor sharing a conversation, it's not so professional. They didn't say anything in here where they wanted to sound so professional. It says, this project is meant to emotionally resonate with healthcare providers, okay? So we're trying to send the emotion there. I created a different point of view, my way to get myself grounded where I wanted to be, but you'll make the decision on your own. Practice this and see what you can do with it. Let's try something different. I actually booked this one. It was something that I was surprised I booked because my read was pretty bad. It's for Green Book Promotional. It's a program for Black-owned businesses to basically create a directory for all the Black businesses in a local area and stuff. And I actually ended up producing or recording a lot of work for this company, or this agency rather. We had a long partnership that lasted about 1.5 years. They led to a lot of repeat work for other projects and stuff. So keep that in mind. Voice123 is a great place to find repeat clients, especially if they're happy with your performance. They will definitely keep you in mind for future projects, so always put your best foot forward. That being said, listening to this one, it didn't say anything. It didn't say anything about what tone they wanted. It was just, local businesses that are owned by people of color. So let's take a listen.
DJ Dykes, 2 takes. The next time you're looking for a new neighborhood barbershop, try Color Change's Black Business Green Book. The next time you're looking for a new neighborhood barbershop, try Color Change's Black Business Green Book.
Okay, not as bad as I thought. The first take was absolutely me doing a caricature of what I thought a Black person should sound like. I made a video about this, how for Black people, it's hard sometimes because when somebody asks for a Black read or an urban read, you never really know how Black they want you to sound. Do they want Black or they want Blackish? If you don't understand how to turn that dial, while remaining authentic to who you actually are. You never really want to do it. You never want to do a caricature, okay? That's disrespectful to the culture. But I didn't quite understand that early on, and so I did that first read, which surprisingly got me booked, and that was the read that they wanted in the spots. One problem that happened during that session, though, is they said, hey, can you make it sound more urban, more black? And I could not. I was already pushing the needle with the first read. It took some confidence out of me after that session. So if you are a person of color or somebody who naturally has an urban read, if you grew up in the inner city and you have that accent, you need to learn early on how to turn that dial. Let's try here and see what I can do. I'll try 2 different reads. I'm gonna try a read what leans more into urban that I understand is authentic to me nowadays, and I'll just do a read without it. We'll just stick to the barbershop script. Let's see what I can do. So take 1. Hey man, the next time you're looking for a new neighborhood barbershop, try Color of Change's Black Business Green Book. Take 2, something less pushy. Hey man, the next time you're looking for a new neighborhood barbershop, try Color of Change's Black Business Green Book. Yeah, so those are 2 I would submit. I wouldn't even spend any more time on that. One thing that has happened for me over my career is I've found that when they're asking for a black read, I just assume that I'm going to be at the bottom of the selection because I didn't grow up that way. I grew up overseas. I grew up in Japan, to be honest with you. I grew up in Japan and Northern California. So, and then Louisiana for high school, which is where my Southern accent came from. So whenever I see spots that are looking for a black read, I just assume that I'm not going to book it, which gives me the creative freedom to just be me and just put it out there instead of trying like I did in that audition to be something I'm not, and then you get booked for the job and they realize that you're not what you pretended to be. So be careful with caricatures of whatever, whether it's urban, Southern, New York accents. Like, unless you can do it convincingly and consistently, just don't do it, all right? Because there are people who do it naturally. That's their accent. They do it already, so let them do it. Don't try to be something you're not, okay? Unless you want to practice with a coach. For example, I'm working with a British RP accent coach right now because I want to have that in my repertoire, but I'm never going to try to compete with a British person. I mean, that's their thing, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Hopefully you found value in these 3 auditions, guys. I plan to put up more videos like this in this series to kind of give you some insight into how I would fix myself in lieu of hearing what your auditions sound like. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.